Guys, you saw me make a community post about this. We have one of the perhaps weirdest fragrances that I've ever reviewed on this channel. Don't know if you're going to want to buy it after this, but this one's going to be quite entertaining. Strap up.
Okay, for two. I watch that head move side to side as I let this in into the room. You are on top, let's connect minds. Trying to get into a mood. We gon' be fine. Close up the blinds, no rush. Finish the food.
All right, welcome to the Scent Bubble. I am your host for the afternoon. Today, provided by Scott, an avid, awesome individual who sent me this among quite a big pack of other decants. We have from the house of Toskovat, this is the Anarchist. I posted on my community section a note breakdown and said, what the heck is this? And I saw some of the strangest notes in a note pyramid I have ever seen. It was almost entirely made up of what I call phantom notes, which is made up of chords that don't really have any real raw material foundation. And we're just going to dive right into this, guys. I don't like the smell of it right off the bat, but you have to know what's out there, guys. And up until this review today, I did not know something like this exists. So let's dive right into it. Whew. And in the air, I get such a heady petrol, gasoline, fire match, like a match was lit. You know, imagine you light one of those temporary matches or whatever and then blow it out real quick. That smoky, small fireworks, snakes and sparklers kind of gun smoke feel, very waxy and gunpowdery. It smells like, 4th of July, snakes and sparklers. You let your kids light them up after they're all lit, the aftermath of smoke with a lot of candle wax, plain candle wax is what this feels like. Oh my goodness. Surprisingly, we're getting towards the dry down on my hand where I do get something else. I don't know what it is though. Maybe woods, maybe booze, but it's so drenched in the other notes I spoke of. Let's go ahead and just go straight into it, guys. 3.3 out of 5 with 446 votes. So a lot of people were intrigued by this. And I think a lot of people just bought this to say they smelled it, because check out this note pyramid right here, guys. Top notes, we have credit cards, whiskey, and snow. Middle notes, money, candle wax, and ink. And base notes, plastic bag, a priest's clothes, holy water, precious woods, olibanum, and sacred resin green. This is easily the strangest fragrance I have ever come across. I'm just going to leave that on the screen for a while so you guys can behold probably the weirdest note pyramid you'll ever see in FragCom history. And on the dry down of this, because this is one of those things where I don't need to tell you how accurate this is. You know, you're not going to buy this. You shouldn't buy this. You're an idiot if you buy this. But let's look at the bottle. Is there any redemptive quality in the bottle? Not really. Not that intriguing. Quite odd. This looks like something that you would see at like an art festival, you know, when they take household regular items and try to make artwork with it, the cap looks like a screwdriver piece or something. The glass, it's just cheesy. Anyway, I mostly get a candle wax, ink, gunpowder vibe from this. On skin, it dries down to a little more whiskey and old resiny green, almost like you burned an incense and then the little stump left from the incense, weeks later, you kind of smell a trace amount of incense, but it's not a good smelling incense. This is just weird. Let's go ahead and wrap up, guys. I don't encourage you to buy this or try this. It isn't even one of those statement pieces where you would have been happy to experience it. This is just somebody playing with silly putty and trying to sell it in a Neiman Marcus. You know what I'm saying? It's so odd and out of place. This is almost the equivalent of like, I forget the name of the artist who did the art piece where they did like a urinal art piece, famous. What was the guy's name? Duchamp. I should know this. Look at this real quick, guys. Check this out. So there was an artist named Marcel Duchamp in 1917 that basically took a urinal and put it on a wall for an art gallery showcase. And there was a big controversy about kind of conventional art and what could be considered art and all that. And this was considered this was a term that was coined after the fact called ready-mades, which was like just normal everyday stuff that we then dubbed to be art, and people started putting stuff on walls. And so this urinal, porcelain urinal, became extremely famous, and this artist became very famous for kind of being very provocative in a time where putting this on a wall as an art piece would have just been so odd. This fragrance is very much that. It's notes and things that you would never consider to be artful or smell good and things like that. And it's just like, well, here's a fragrance about it. There was a girl on YouTube that made a video, I think, called like 10 fragrances for weird girls. And I really admired that video because it's interesting, right? Like, what would weird girls wear as a fragrance? But I think she actually enjoyed the fragrances. They were just like not your traditional thing. So that aspect of this fragrance I can appreciate, but it seems like so much of a joke, right? Because the accords are all phantom accords. Nobody can replicate this. Nobody knows what it's made out of. And on skin, it goes in the direction of like old school Fahrenheit, but way worse. Like, Fahrenheit's a fragrance my dad wore my entire childhood, and I never understood it. Now at the tender age of 36, when I smell the Le Parfum version and even the original, I do see the beauty in the robust power and prestige that kind of comes with that fragrance. Is kind of like a suit and tie, assertive, masculine, big dog energy kind of fragrance. And I do see the beauty in the perfumery, though it's very provocative for people who've never smelled that scent profile. This is very provocative, but I'm just struggling to see the beauty in it. So there's no real redeemable merit for you to investigate something like this. You just know it exists out there and you let it be what it is. I'd be interested to see, you know, when people do stuff like this, even in the art world, as I was researching artists and various provocative things people would do in art to challenge the status quo, I'd always look into the life of the artist and the history of their work to see if there was meaningful intent or if they just were rubbing their hands in silly putty and trying to just make that be meaningful, you know? And that's my biggest question with this, is wanting to know the story behind the artist and see if there's anything intriguing about this, or is it just a joke? Because I think once you look into an artist's life story and their direction as a person and individual, you can really start to put together, because there are times where stuff like this can happen and it change your mind about things. And maybe it's not something you would wear, but maybe it opens your mind to the possibilities and to just reconsider the art side of perfumery, where it doesn't always have to be about panty droppers and masculinity and you know, formal fragrances and winter fragrances and all that. We can jump way outside of that and say, what happens when you just have a moment or an object or a space and time where you want to create a fragrance that reminds you of that and evoke some type of space and time experience from the past, or connect it to something. So there is sometimes often art that comes our way that can evoke that, and it can be really powerful and against the grain, but With the information I have on this fragrance, I can truly say this is just a one-of-one experience that nobody really needs in their life. There's no real story even behind it either. I think the perfumer is a really young individual. Let's see what fragrances. Yeah, so let me show you guys this and then we'll go ahead and sign off. Look at these fragrances that he's created. They look really cool as art pieces. Like, let's click these. Like, this is very different type of see. Now I look at this and this makes me want to investigate, but look, 3.32, what are the accords? See, bread, mushrooms. What is this one? What did this one get? 4 out of, okay, so this one got a 4 out of 5. So this guy's just playing in the mud with his notes. Really cool bottles, though. I mean, I can't... 3.5. Okay, see, now this one looks a little more normal, but it got a 3.5. Seems like with a fragrance like this, you're mostly just paying for the bottle. 3 out of 5. So he's just playing with all kind of weirdo stuff. Yeah. Empty Wish as well. 4 out of 5. So he has some stuff that some people are intrigued by, but man, I would just say tread with caution messing with this house, because they've got some cool, tempting artwork, but it seems like a lot of stuff got 3s as a score. But he's got some 4s in there, so maybe we should investigate that later. This just seems like the stuff he wears. You walk up to this guy and you're like, oh man, this is a unique individual. You know, it's almost like you gave a lot of great ingredients to a child. That child's bound to make something good 1 out of every 100 tries. But I don't know. Somebody prove me wrong. Have you tried this fragrance? Have you heard anything from the house or anything from this perfumer? Like, comment, and subscribe. Please turn on your notifications because we cover everything, as you can see, from all ranges of profiles and perfumers and styles and price points, even to the weirdo stuff that we just saw today. Again, this was from the house of Toskovat, I want to say, and this was Anarchist, and I don't even think a fragrance like this is rateable, not even worth a score. And I can't even really tell you to put your nose on it. It's not that interesting. All right. Hope you guys have a blessed rest of your week and enjoyed the review. Until next time, peace.